legacy brand Gibson Home is a brand which we show you. And then this is Lori Gates. So we have our legacy brand, we have Gibson Home, which is really where the company started. And then we kind of did the Toyota Lexus concept of trying to come up with an upscale brand. So that was our Gibson Elite, where we introduced some of the upscale product. And then we purchased a brand from Lori Gates, which actually we asked him, he also ended up being our creative SVP, but he's retiring as of March. So this is our kind of a step-up brand. We have it in Costco, we have it in Macy's and Belk and few, when we've opened it up a little bit more. And then we also have a Soho Lounge brand, which is a brand which pretty much exists on Amazon and a few other retailers. It's a smaller brand. So you see here is the Lori Gates, and this is some of the Gibson Elite. And then this is the Spice by Tia Mary. So why don't we go around here? I can show you, these are some of the Gibson Home brands. And entertainment is big. You know, I'm gonna give you some of the terms. So we call this product, we call dinnerware, okay, dishes, right? Then cookware is pots and pans, and cutlery is knives and you know, and then we have flatware, which is fork and spoon. Okay, so just some of the terms. So these are some of the Gibson Home, and you know, we go into many categories in each of the category. The way we divide it up, we have tabletop and coordinates. Coordinates is like coffee and tea, wood, miscellaneous kind of. And then we have housewares, which is cookware, cutlery, bakeware, and that's about 50% of our business.
So just to add to what Sal is saying, so if you think about Gibson, we're like a three-legged stool in terms of brands. We have our own brands, so legacy brands, so Lori Gates, Gibson Home. We then have national brands, so brands like Oster, Mr. Coffee, Crockpot, etc. And then we have celebrity brands, which include people like Tia Mowry and Pioneer Woman, where we really developed those brands from scratch. There was a cookbook, there was nothing else. So we created the branding, the color palette, everything to do with that. And that was the same for Pioneer Woman, which is now almost $1 billion brand at Walmart. So we do that. And then we also, as Sal said, we do a lot of private label. So with somebody like Walmart, we've got Gap Home, we have Wanda June, which is a Miranda Lambert brand. And then also we still supply Pioneer Woman. So those are the three legs, and more we're getting into content-driven brands, which is often celebrity. And we'll talk later about Babish, which is very much about integrated marketing. It's about, you know, he's got 10 million subscribers on YouTube. The product gets promoted. You can go to a landing page, to a brand page and buy it on Amazon, gets shipped in 24 hours, and then the cycle continues. So that's more and more of what we're trying to do as we sort of build our business. And then as Sal says, we play across all categories, from cook, bake, dine, all the way through to on the go and pet. And our big strength over the years as we've built these categories is the ability to create these coordinated lifestyle categories. So when you look at Martha, it's across all categories. There's a consistent look and feel and a brand positioning and message. So that's our big point of difference. And that's why a lot of people come to us, as Sal was saying earlier, for licenses, because we'll go to Gibson because they have an amazing track record. They've proven what they do, and they can create the whole thing, and it's a one-stop shop for those people to come to us. So that's our positioning, and everything you see around, just sort of look at it in the context of those things. You know, what are the brands and how are they positioned? And also now, we play on a good, better, best, so the old Sears mantra. So we've got brands that are sort of lower price, more opening price point. We've then got better brands, and then we've got best brands like Sur La Table. So we play up and down price points, we play across categories, we have all of these brands. So there's a massive matrix of opportunity for Gibson that we manage. It's very, very complicated, but it's really rewarding when you make things happen and you deliver, and you know, we have the success we have. So that's sort of just a little bit of
you know, we juggle a lot of balls, as David is saying. So that's it's a kind of the model of the company. Some people sell one item. We
Yeah.
sell many. We sell coordination. And you know, the progression of the business is something is very important because when we first started, majority of our business was private label. So we would do brands for retailers, or they would have their own brand. We would just supply the product. But the business model changed because a lot of the private label programs, they were buying directly from the factories, and they didn't think they need us. And also some of the categories like housewares is more branded. If you want to buy a watch, you buy a brand watch. If you buy a car, you almost first decide what is the brand you want before you buy. So we had to get into some of these licensed brands in order to be able to grow the housewares category, which has been a big growth category for us. So these are some of the basic items you see, like whiteware, white dinnerware. Here's product from India. So majority of product comes from China, but we also have product from India, Thailand, Vietnam. We buy some product from Europe. So like this is a product from Turkey. It's produced in
And
Turkey.
we've sort of gone from this is what a factory has to going to factories and saying this is what we need. So more and more we're sort of driving what's required in the marketplace.
Full model
Yeah.
rather than a
Yeah. Yeah.
And this section is all the mistakes. This is
Yeah.
the closeout section. This is where we sell the product at a discount, big discount.
It's
And
product,
nowadays we have a lot of closeout.
yeah. It's product that as well has come to an end of a life cycle,
Yeah.
or it's been replaced with something new and different.
Or
you know.
retailers discontinue the product,
Yeah.
we get stuck with it.
So it's probably sold well at some point, but as you know, everything.
Yeah,
has a
it's not
life cycle.
necessarily a dog, but it just kind of ended the line in a way. So, okay, so here's some of the housewares brand. You see this is Gibson Home. We have some housewares product under Gibson Home. Majority more opening price point. Then we go into Ulster, which actually has now, at beginning when we first got into Ulster is a small electric line, like toasters and blenders. And when we got into this brand, everybody says, well, this is a small electric line. What are you doing selling cookware? So the brand extension that Maria talks about is very important. At the beginning, they didn't accept the brand extension. But over time, it's now very well expected. You know, it's now a great part of our business and very well and also the other angle of this that we are growing even further is that the Ulster brand, because of Ulsterizers, is a big part of the Hispanic market. So in the South American market, Ulster actually occupies 50% of the market, small electrical. So it's a big name there. So very well known within the Hispanic community. So we are really emphasizing the Hispanic side of the business. And you know, Hispanic business is a big business because 40% of the population of California and Texas, and I think 20% of population in Florida are Hispanic. So a big market.
It's fast growing too.
Fast as
and
well.
a
And
young-
fast growing.
And a very young demographic. So when you look at the average age of an Hispanic family, it's young. And so that's very much one of the consumers of the future. And when you look at a brand like Oster, you saw Tia, and we talked. Have you got a question?
Yeah, but
Okay. So when you looked at Tia, we talked about the fact that we created Tia from scratch. Oster is one of those brands that comes with existing brand guidelines. So this is the way the brand is.
Yeah,
this
they
is
have
how
a
you
brand
use it.
deck. They call it a brand deck. They have guidelines.
Yeah. So there's a color palette, there's an approach in place, and a packaging style guide as well. So we create packaging that fits our needs, and it gets changed relative to small kitchen appliances because that's usually one item in a box. We have sets and other things. So we sort of work around that as well. And then the other thing on brand extension is, you know, imagine brands expanding in concentric circles. So at the core is what the brand was. So it's small kitchen appliances.
It's
And that's,
the brand essence
Yeah.
that we talk about.
so when you start to expand, things like cookware are very closely linked into cooking and air fryers and liquidizers and other things. So it's more of a natural extension. And over time, you build out those concentric circles so you can get a brand to a place that people 5 or 10 years ago didn't even think made sense for the brand. But over time, you get people to sort of accept it and understand it's part of what we're doing. And brand extension is a great way of leveraging a consumer's loyalty to a brand and also increasing and enhancing that. Because if they love a cookware item and they use it every day, they're more likely to go and buy another Oster kitchen appliance.
Yeah, so
it's part of that.
for brand itself, a licensing makes sense because what they do is actually make their name bigger.
Yeah.
So in a ways, like you were talking about opening outlets, a lot of the brands open outlets because that actually is a brand enhancement. It grows the name.
Yeah.
So the same with the licensing program. Not only is good income for them, it also strengthens the brand. But if some people go too far away, like we had the Sunbeam license from them, they said no more because they felt like the Sunbeam is more
It's personal care.
personal care, and it
Peter
didn't fit.
blankets.
So the brand identity was not appropriate for cookware. So this is cookware, this is cutlery, and then we get into crock
Did you just have a quick question?
Yeah, do you sell outside the US or is it?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So the US is our biggest market, like most domestic companies. We sell into Canada, we sell into Mexico. Oster is sold across Latin America.
Okay.
So Brazil, Peru, Colombia. We sell into Europe. We've got some Surlatar product going into the UK soon. We'll sell to the Philippines. We sell in China. We sell in a lot of markets. But still the biggest chunk of our business is the US. That's
The
our
US
domestic
is of
market.
course the biggest. Mexico is our largest.
Yeah.
And then Canada and South America. But yeah, we've sold to German retailers and
Yeah.
English retailers, and we do.
Yeah.
It's not, now the economy in Europe is more challenging, but we actually have a great interest on Surlatar for some of the English retailers. So these are more of the Oster. This is crockpot. And here's a lot of cutlery here, and you see this is bakeware and other product. Then we get into the Surlatop. How many of you know the Surlatop store? How many of you know Surlatop store? Okay. So it's a brand that the company that owned Martha Stewart is called Marquis. So Marquis came and actually purchased the stores, purchased the brand and the store. And they actually went and gave the stores to another company which got a licensing deal with them. So they operate 40 stores, but then they took the brand and they created a line for it. So they gave us this category, the small kitchen textile is gone to another resource. So they actually created a brand, and there's a lot of demand for the retailers because they're very prestigious. It's one of the highest high-end brand, high-end retail. So there's a lot of people that are interested. We already have it in Belk store. We are going to have it in Belk. We're going to have it in Kroger, which is the Ralph's chain, like 500 stores. And then there's a lot of other major interest on it. We just got this about a year ago.
So part of their strategy is they've sort of reduced to 40 to 50 doors they're selling online. But what they want to do is to bring a lot of new consumers into the brand. So part of doing that, shopping is very habitual. You go to the same retailers all the time, pretty much to buy your things. So their plan is to broaden that footprint. And ultimately what it does is it brings people into the brand, and over time they start to gravitate up, and then ultimately will buy the Surlatar and go into stores and buy online. So it's a way of building.
But of course, you can
the
also say
opportunity.
that they're going to diminish the brand because it's very high end.
Yeah.
But they're going to end up seeing this brand in the Home Goods and Target, and after a while, that could deteriorate the value of the brand in the market, or it will transform it into a brand that is not necessarily that prestigious.
I'd say that would be David's job to defend the integrity of the brand.
Yeah.
In any licensing or brand extension, there's always going to be risk. You've got to sort of weigh that risk against the opportunity. And so for a brand like Surlatar, which is 50 years old, even younger than Martha, for those who couldn't guess her age earlier, you know, they know that they've got to change, and therefore a lot of what they're going to do is online as well. And they have something like pre-COVID, they had 600,000 people who attended cooking demonstrations in store. So how do you keep those people engaged, and how do you build that? So it's a big opportunity for us. We'll see how it falls out in the next 10 years, but we think there's a great opportunity here.
Yeah, in a ways, in some ways, so it turned out to be a huge brand on other retailers, and the stores are not that important in a sense. So we're going to present Babish to you, so I'll leave more discussion on this to later on because we'll have a presentation.
Yeah, but this is sort of like enamel cast iron, really high quality product. And every time you develop a product, you want to have some sort of point of difference. So as you can see, this has got a matte finish to it, which years ago was always really tough because you got fingerprints or you got stains. We've adapted the technology now, so it just works like any other exterior coating. So again, it's a point of difference. So it isn't just a case of let's create product and logo slap. It's about creating product that's
So
true
they
to the
actually
brand.
design that, but there's
Yeah.
also a lot of approval process.
Yeah.
And with some licenses, the approval process is a nightmare, some like more cooperative. So it's actually the people you work with makes a big difference, of course, because you don't own the brand. In a ways, you're leasing the brand, or so you're on their like if a Cerlatop, they're a little bit too crazy. They drive us nuts because they're not flexible. On other things, they're more flexible. So then this is Kenmore. You know the Kenmore brand, I'm sure. This is Sears, owned by Sears. And they actually, they're known for refrigerators. We're introducing cookware. Actually, majority sales right now is on Amazon.
Campbell
Then,
is a brand that's in 30% of U.S. households. These are, you look at why you're going to take on a brand, and when you suddenly understand that sort of distribution and that loyalty, that's a really important reason for us to take on a brand. We're very, very, very selective now about what brands we take on board. They have to serve a purpose for us. They have to bring a point of difference, and they've got to be relevant in the marketplace.
and they also have to fit our portfolio.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
each brand fills a niche. Like the Cerlatop is very high end. Is actually probably our most premier brand. So created the opportunity to go into higher end retailers. The Babish is a big YouTube artist, so he created the avenue into a younger consumer. So they all have to have. There are some overlap. So the overlap is, you want to have less and less of it because then it will make you a more efficient business model. Okay, so
It's like a portfolio.
yeah, exactly. It's like a portfolio of investments or whatever you want to say, So the assortment and even our product range, we have too many items essentially because of the model of the business is one of our advantages that we are so diversified and we have many categories, but in a ways is one of our biggest challenges because we have too many SKUs. You know what a SKU is, right? The stock counting unit. So we have something like 20,000 items in our warehouses, so it gets to be very difficult to manage from an inventory point of view and from a sales point of view. But in some ways, we have no choice either because the cookware we have for Kenmore is different than the cookware we have for Oster. We need both. So there is some overlap, and we try to reduce that. And Frock is another line that we're going to introduce to you guys, so that we'll kind of leave it for discussion. Mr. Coffee, and I was mentioning in the class, first we used to sell teapots, and we couldn't sell a lot. The minute we got the Mr. Coffee, you can look at the number of tea kettles we carry, So that's an advantage of a good brand. It really opens an avenue to you. So opportunities, and as if the brand is strong and big, then it's even better. So we'll talk about Babish also, so I'll leave that discussion till we sit down and talk. That's actually, from our legacy point of view, this is our boutique brand. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. So I think we're coming to the end. Here's the Martha, we come back. So now I'm gonna take you to just give you a quick look of the office, just to give you a idea for the general structure of the company. You guys have any questions? Let us know.
So cool.
I have the company profile ready to go, so if you bring them back around here, you can show that to them.
You have a PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay, good deal. Probably just,
Oh, no, it's on-
probably
it's on
just
the
start
computer.
with that at the
It's
beginning.
locked and loaded, yeah.
Okay, guys, so this is actually, on the wall is a lot of our business managers, which are salespeople. We call salesmen business managers because they're different. They're involved in more than just selling. They're involved in all aspects, product development, they travel overseas. This section is our Mexico market, right here. Most of these ladies and men are for Mexico. Then this is our sales ops, which is the administrative of the sales activity. So I'm back there. You know what? I'll show you the creative department. Let's go this way.
All sorts of ways, so there's often a lot of different licensees, but generally most of them.
So these are some of the new items that we arrived, that we study to see if they're appropriate for us. So this is our creative department. You see we have surface designers and we have graphic designers. So I think, let's see, I'll just go this way. So let's come here.
We get very heavily involved in that particular thing. And we'll do like a marketing.
So all of this, the big creative department, which is one of our strengths.
But generally you're trying to
And this is our product development department.
You're trying to leverage them. That's one of the reasons you bring them. You're bringing on an exec, you're bringing on an already committed audience. So you bring in that awareness, you're bringing on that loyalty, you're bringing on that ability to leverage.
So this is one of our boardrooms, and this is our purchasing and DI department. Purchasing, of course, we issue purchases to the factories, and this section is we bring the container, which is very big challenge.
Sal, just a quick question on your father, actually. Just wanting to know who it was.
Well, we're going to show the company profile.
Okay.
We'll go over the quick company profile.
So we're fourth generation.
So I'm going to just take you back here. Let's wait for the coming. So naturally, you saw this. Brands are important to us. So there is our, we have the flag up. This is our finance department here.
So these brands are leveraging your existing infrastructure and
So this is also finance. We come in here. We'll take a look here. Come on in. We'll take a quick look. This is our order processing department and traffic.
Gibson's a good partner from the point of view we have such
Let's go back here.
such a strong retail network and we have such a strong support sourcing.
This is so I think the best way to go. Can I go through here to the back door?
To the studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to the
Okay,
studio.
come. So this is where we do what we call the line review, where we look at the new product to decide what to add to the line and carry inventory. So there's some of these are storage. I'm going to do a shortcut because I want to show you. Be careful here. Okay, I think we can get out here.
We're going to the store.
No, I'm going to show you our studio and our lab. You don't want to go to the store.
Where is
Oh,
it?
this is the studio. So you guys come on in here. Be careful with them. Yeah, you know the studio, actually the creative department that you saw, our studio was back there. But because of the online business, there's so much need for photography. Come on in. So we actually expanded our studio and built a new studio at this location, which we like to keep departments together, but we had no choice. So these are all of our photographers and videographers on that side.
Nobody's there.
Nobody's there. So we have 2 videographers that are. There's a space next door that they're actually building for them. There's more space here. I don't think anybody's here. Oh, they're preparing some
setup.
shots. See that, and also if you notice in the studio, they have a setup for each brand. So if you're doing gift boxes or photography, you already have a kind of a background ready and it's ready to be set up. And so that way it's faster and they can do more work.
And also for consistency. So
Yeah.
that we'll get something approved in terms of a template, and then we're able to just shoot quickly, knowing it's going to get approved.
Yeah, you see, this is a kitchen, so this would be good for like Ulster or Kenmore. Yeah, you see, they have a lot of kitchens. So that marble background is Martha. Most of the Martha Stewart backgrounds are marble. Anything more here?
So this
Okay.
is all production for.
Yeah, this is production. I think that we have one. Isn't the studio? Did they build the extra room next door?
Just right here?
It's just
Not
here.
on the other side.
I thought they were gonna put one
Not
next
yet.
door. Oh, not yet. Okay. So come here. I just want to show you a couple more things. Come on out. Okay. I just want to show you our lab. Come on in here. No, that part of the building we own, but we don't occupy because we don't need it right now. Is the lab open? Yes, sir. Okay. So you'll see this is all vacated spot.
How long this whole juke thing is here?
We've been in this building for about 14 years.
14. Like they build it up generally?
Sorry?
Like they build it up like later because it's huge.
We changed just inside. We bought it like this. And then we changed inside. They used a lot of this for storage. Is that the lab all the way there? Oh, God. Yeah, hi, how are you? This is, come on in. So, this is Rajiv is in charge of our laboratory, in-house lab. So we brought in an in-house lab to be able to, we also use professional outside lab because the retailers require some things to be tested by outside, but this gives us the ability to test it quickly, and many times it's just what we need for different kind of needs, like, you know, you want to make sure it meets the specs that is required. So it's an important new addition that we've had this for what, 5 years, 10 years?
Since 2016.
2016. So it's a nice addition to what we have. I wanted to make sure I show you.
And somebody had mentioned earlier about everything turns up from IKEA broken. So drop tests.
Yeah, we do,
All
we
of
do
those
drop
are done
tests here, right?
Yeah.
Yes. we
Where
have
is
a
your
people on the
equipment?
other side.
Is the other side?
Yeah, I say the main saying that it's on another.
It's another section?
Yeah.
So we'll make sure everything is packaged correctly. So
Where do we do that?
whether it's going into another box or whether it's going into a remailer. So that's really
Yeah,
important.
obviously.
I mean, you don't want to get somebody excited and then fused, spend some money and it turns up and it's damaged. So, and there's really important specifications laid out by all the retailers. So Target or Walmart generally have the highest, and so we have to make sure that we match those specifications on tests. So whether it's from 4
And
feet,
then-
6 feet, 8 feet. there's
And
all sorts of
costing is very important. Costing is a big deal because with the remailer packaging now is an additional cost, and we have to have sometimes product that is gift box for the stores and remailer. So we are also got to try find economic solutions. It's not just, you know, it's easy to pack something that doesn't break, but it's you got to do it economically also. So I think Rajiv, you
Yeah,
want to
let me
show
walk
us quickly? Is it near?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. Come on, take a look at this.
This is a packaging testing area.
Okay, come here first, hold on. Yeah, this is, how much this machine cost?
Quite a buy with
Huh?
about $2,000.
$2,000?
So basically, this simulates a truck. So now when you put the packaging in there, when inside, so this simulates the truck.
What is the term you use for
It's a vibration.
vibration? So the vibration test has to pass certain level of
Number
vibration.
of hours and number of speed as well.
I hear myself.
So
When
once
you
we-
hear your own voice, you're kind of like, what? This is how it sounds.
So once we do that, we then drop it in a sequence, say from 30 inches,
So
36.
Amazon has, what's the Amazon?
Amazon standard is like different. There's 17 drops from 18 to 36 inches.
How many times?
17 times.
17 times.
Yeah.
You have to like drop it in.
Yeah.
Has to
Okay.
drop
So
and
edges,
not to break.
corners,
Yeah.
so that it gets.
And glassware is very tough, you know, because glassware is very fragile.
Yeah.
It's easier like on cookware. Dinnerware is more difficult because it's more fragile.
So we've kind of figured it out by now, but we still test it and wrap it up.
But we try to find, I mean, when we walk there, we have packaging engineers, so they always
Yeah,
work on that, and we're constantly looking for solutions on how to do that.
Rajiv also uses this a couple of times a week for as part of his fitness regime. It's just to build up the muscles in his calves and his quads. Oh, sorry, I forgot about that.
It's not a bad idea, actually. Okay, so let's just, I want to take you down the stairs and take a peek at our warehouse. We're not going to go into the warehouses. Freight elevator going to the warehouse downstairs. Under this building, there's a warehouse. Okay. So let's go down the stairs. We own this warehouse, but we have a lease warehouse in city of San Bernardino that is on same size. So we have about 1.4.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show you, and you see the brands are important to us, right? So this is like Hollywood, you know. All right, let's go back. So we can go back now and we start our presentation for you guys. Oh.
Yeah.
Do all the brands have like their people come to Gibson? Like
Who?
Like do all the brands, like after they have the contract, they don't need to send any people, like to come.
They
to
come
check?
sometimes. The good people come. So
Okay.
you know, again, depends on how cooperative they are. They come and visit us every month, every other month, and some people once a year. It depends. But they're involved. You know, we go visit them. So when you're in a licensing situation, there's a lot of relationship, and David is very good at the relationship part. Very important.
Do they send like all the goods in the distribution center, or you send it to like all the gypsum store directly?
From our product, a lot of it comes to our warehouse here, and a lot of it direct to the customers.
Direct to the center.
Yeah, we ship containers
Oh, online
from
now.
China. Yeah, no, from China goes directly to the customer. As far as sales, we either ship directly to the consumer from our warehouse here, or we send it to Amazon. Amazon ships it.
Okay.
Two locations. Yeah, we don't have stores. We only have that outlet downstairs. You guys, I don't know how many of you visit. So these are team member of the month. We try to recognize people. We have picnics sometimes.
And then each brand typically
This is kind of the lunchroom. This is the lunchroom. You guys want to see the lunchroom? This is kitchen and the lunchroom.
Okay. I thought they said launch room. They had a launch something.
Belgium. All right. So then.
So 6 microwaves, 3 ovens.
So the empowerment of the team and recognition of the team is also very important in any kind of business. So the people have different ways of doing it. So you know, we followed a lot of our models is similar to Southwest Airlines. We follow some of those. We've learned from different companies and different organizations. Okay, so we now. Oh, I forgot. IT department also show you. Oh, this is our marketing department here. David, show your marketing department. Here's some packaging. Do you have any packaging design that you're working on?
Right now, I'm working on a sleeve.
You know, only sleeve.
Yeah.
So this is where we do a lot of our packaging design. So there's simple packaging like this, but you see this. Who are we doing this to? Is this just for?
Just for
For
our kitchen
ourselves?
home, yes.
So here's a new concept that we've done this before in the market, but instead of selling a set, we want to sell one piece, but it comes in what we call PDQ, so it can go display in the retailer, and you know can have a presentation also, and then doesn't break. You see the distance. So you know prices of our product is going up, so we're trying to find more creative ways of trying to make it more affordable for people. And of course, a lot of people want just open stock. They don't want a set. So these are the kind of things.
So I was saying to somebody earlier, Sal, that you know, as a company, we're very much soup to nuts. So when we're developing a program or a brand, we'll do all the creative in-house, and then Sal will talk about the creative team. We have surface pattern and industrial designers. We'll then get that approved. We'll then go to get samples and work with our manufacturing partners to bring in product samples. They all go through internal or external review. Once we're moving forward with that, we then develop our own packaging. And so we'll develop packaging, and that's done by our graphics team and then brought in here so that we can work on the construction of the packaging. And then the photography studio you went in, like for packaging, they'll do photography for packaging, they'll do photography for social media, for any trade mailers, other things. So it's a complete soup to nuts. We manage everything from beginning to end.
Yeah, these are some examples of innovative packaging. This is like a hand carry, and it has a dinner plate, so the dinner plate we show here. And these are 4-packs?
Yes.
So these are just 4-pack idea with the open window. So, you know, the consumer has a chance to see it. And we were talking about the difficulty of glassware drop test. So here's a glassware box. You see it has a very thick cardboard outside, and then inside is hard to get out. You see the inners are very big, very thick inners. So protects each glass. But it's challenged because this glass by itself, it costs about probably 75 cents. So the cost of the packaging is probably like 20 cents, 30 cents per piece. So it gets to be a big cost increase. But this is the business, you know, online is so big now.
And
Okay.
the box on the end, just if you're asking, it's just because Hyro likes chips.
Yeah, that's what they, I was gonna ask that.
Inspiration.
And he's eating most of it.
They need a break once in a while. Okay, so let's go, now we're gonna go back to our presentation, so we can go from here.
So what we'll do is we'll send, so we'll often get the eye lines, we'll create eye lines, begin many further.
Crossing guard.
And they will create on our
Can I have a bottle of water, please, if you don't mind? Okay, guys, so how many ended up? I think 13. Oh, you came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12, 13. Yeah, okay, good. All right, guys, so I'm going to, just give you a quick rundown on the company profile. A lot of it we talk, but reputation is good. But Maria said you have to say something 6 or 9 times. I've usually heard less than that. I've heard 3 times. But so this is my father was the one that really, in a sense, started the company. They started from scratch. He actually left university halfway. He was going to get a law degree, and he left halfway to go join my grandfather. And their office was like this size, and the floor would be gravel, so they would have to throw water on the gravel so the dust doesn't come out. And they had one little dinky table and note, and if you see it, our notepads are recycled. So there's a lot of same culture kind of continues. You see we have used desks. So it's just part of our culture, and we are what we consider ourselves a low overhead type of organization because we offer value to the market. So it's very important for us to do that. So it was really an inception, and this is, you will meet Alex, he's going to do Frog. I think Tyler is going to do Babish, and Daniel is Bloomhouse, but he's not here. And these are my 2 other brothers. Solomon is older brother, and older brother always handles the money. You know, that's the way it works in our cult. And then Dar is actually a Stanford master's Stanford, so he's the brain of the company. He runs the operations. So our mission, joy through cooking and dining, and we talk about a lot of the advantages, and the multi-category we mentioned is a big part of our business, is a big part of our asset, but is also challenges with it. One challenge is that the retailers know there are companies that only sell flatware. So all they talk about is flatware. There are companies that only sell glassware. So what happens is that when we want to sell those categories, we are actually at a disadvantage because it's a lower priority category for us. And our salespeople don't necessarily talk about that first. So it gets to be a challenge to sell all the categories we have. That's why some of the licenses help us also do that. And then we have a very strong creative interest. The company was really established based on style. The dinnerware business, style is really more important than even brand. So as an example, we have dinnerware that is wrong color and is a difficult time to even sell it on closeout. So it's very important to have the right style. So for clothing, for example, there are certain type of business that style is very important. And then manufacturing we talked about. We work with about 500 factories around the world. Of course, majority in China. Quality control we talked about. Product development, we're very strong. The logistic, the export sales we talked about. The warehousing we talked about. And sales support, we have many sales managers, what we call. I think we have like 14 sales managers, which a lot of companies will only have like 3. So our model is different because each sales manager only works with few customers. So we are very specialized because we give a lot of service to them and we want to know who they are. And there are certain customers like Walmart. We actually have an office in Bentonville. We have like 7 people there. So we have a staff solely focused on one retailer and many others. We do business with almost everybody in U.S., a lot of the majors. Like we don't do any business with Williams-Sonoma right now, but really majority of retailers we do, and also some export as we talked about. So e-commerce is getting bigger and bigger. In our business, I'm predicting in 5 years will be probably 30 to 50, 40% of our business, which is a big chunk. And people who are not, right now is about 20% of our business. Right now is bigger than our export business. The online business itself is bigger than total exports. So it's a very big part of business and growing. It was growing at about 30% rate for the past 10 years. This year is the first year we actually have a sales drop. Because last year was such a big year, this year is a big drop in online. Everybody was buying during the pandemic online, so it kind of slowed down. But online business is going to continue to be very, very big. Really for your generation, if I would look at that first before I would look at anything else. Selling to online would be better than trying to sell to retailers themselves.
Can I just pass a couple of comments on that?
Sure, on any of these.
Yeah, so online is growing very, very strongly, but it's increasingly becoming an omni-channel world where you need to be selling or you need to be showing product wherever consumers are. So it's much more of an integrated marketing approach now, whether it's social media or other things. So it's important that as online grows, that our retail partners still maintain brick and mortar and still maintain that retail presence. A lot of people will look online, go to Amazon's like a shop window in a lot of ways. They'll go to Amazon, look at things. But there's still, and particularly for our products as opposed to say apparel or other things, a need to go in store. A, because people want the experience, but B, people want to look at a saucepan and say, is that big enough for my needs? Or is that the right colour for my kitchen? So it's still a very sort of tactile, visual business as well. So a lot of our retailers, whether it's Macy's or other companies out there like Walmart, are very focused on growing online, but they're also very focused on making in store a great experience and making it a very relevant part of their business. So we've got to play, a bit like Sal talks about, we've got to play across all these categories and these brands. We've also got to play across a whole range of consumer outreach and retail opportunities. So it's a very, very complicated and a very fragmented market now. It's not the market it was, old economy, you just go make stuff and people go buy it. It's now, very, very complicated with a lot of moving parts.
Maria talked about that she's doing a study for a company that they're going to look at the difference between online and store. And the 2 points that kind of sat with me is that online business is two-dimensional, the retail is three-dimensional. You can feel and touch. And also the retail is got the social aspect. You go there as a fun almost. You go to shopping centers to look at people while you're shopping. And I think that it's getting to be, yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like brands that were developed, housewares brands were developed purely online, direct to consumer, like our place that does the Always Pan. They just opened a retailer here in Los Angeles. That might be a fun field trip. Here we are traditionally distributing to retailers, and we're trying to grow our online business. Meanwhile, the online guys are like, how do we get into retail? Caraway, another cookware brand, they're tripping over themselves to get themselves on store shelves. So it's, I guess the grass is always greener sometimes.
Well,
It's
that's
creating a balance.
Yeah.
well, the Amazon is bought. What's this? Whole Foods.
So, yeah.
They bought Whole Food because they needed the stations. Actually, there's a lot of talk that they're going to buy somebody else. I think they're going to buy Kohl's, or Macy's likes them to buy it. So they're looking at that, and Walmart tries to get get their online business very strong. So it's getting to be a challenge because as Leonard was mentioning, some resources start online, but once they grow online, they see that they need to go into retail in order to sell inventory or to get bigger footprint. So it's really now the market is two aspects. So it's how you play those two, a big part of and differs depending on the business, of course,
I saw
and the
something-
product.
I saw something a few weeks ago that said 60% of millennials, they shop online, but 60% would still prefer to go and buy in store because of the experience and the ability to see what they're buying. So I think it's going to end up being a really good balance between the two. as we move
Yeah, people like Macy's, they tell us now 50% of their sales is online. Kohl's tell us about 50% of business is online. So it's a major factor. Definitely in any business is a big consideration. So drop test we talked about, marketing. We actually don't advertise on consumer magazines. We only do trade magazines, and we stopped that because nobody reads them anymore. But we are looking at some influencers, and we have had some experience with influencers. So we're going to talk about advertisement, promotional type of activity with you guys too. And we talked about merchandising. Oh, these are all the brands now. So Chrissy, Martha. Chrissy Teigen, actually, we had a program at Target, a big program at Target for a few years. Then she got into this political comments with her husband, and Target dropped them, and all retailers dropped them because she had that controversy with that one guy that was 18-year-old guy that he told her to go die, and so the disadvantage of the celebrity brands is that if they talk negatively, things mess up. What is Kanye or what? Yeah, that's the best example. Nike or Reebok lost $1 billion sales potential. That's a big loss. So they have no choice because they lose other business if they don't. So that's a disadvantage of the celebrity licenses. You have to be careful. We have in our contracts, we usually have a statement that says if you say something bad, we can walk out, but then you lose business also. So then we got into Spice by Tia Mary, which actually is really not an African American license, but that's probably what the retailers think. So it's kind of a problem we have because we want to develop product that she likes, but all the retailers want product that they think is African American.
So very much multicultural, and her aesthetic is, it's quite vibrant, but it's fairly neutral. And Tia will tell you the only thing that is African American about her is a color. Basically, as far as she's concerned, everybody is the same, and she wants to be able to appeal to every consumer that's out there. But I think, you get perceptions, and 52% of her following is African American. And so, it's interesting trying to manage just what the expectations are of people. Having said that, African Americans have a tremendous propensity to cook, to entertain, experiment with food. So it's a very, very interesting demographic, an overlooked demographic in many ways to go after. So lots of opportunities.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good African American licenses, actually. So we are actually looking for a Hispanic license. We're looking for possibly, we want to develop Gibson Home and also more for the Hispanic market. This is really the direction we want to take. But if we find a shortcut, of course, we'll do that. And the Spice is really kind of ended up being an African American. We'll talk about Babish when we have the presentation. Then we talked about Lori Gates quite a bit. And this is our Gibson Elite, Gibson Home, and then Soho Lounge. And really Bloomhouse should be here, but this is an older deck. But we introduced Bloomhouse actually March of this year at a big show. And we got lucky with the Oprah thing, and we actually already selling like selling quite a bit on Amazon. We'll see if the momentum carries. But they gave us a huge order. You know, Amazon works like that. The minute they get traction, they give you a big order. Of course, we can't supply now because we don't have the goods yet.
Everything at Amazon is based on algorithm. So, you know, it will just, based on sales, it will spew out what they think the future need is. And sometimes it's it's a little interesting, the numbers there.
Yeah, they're just like a computer. You don't really work with buyers. Buyers are called vendor managers,
Yeah.
and they don't really select product. It's all policy, and we pretty much have the open door to add whatever we want. So it's the vendor manager is just sometimes they ask for discount. They work on shipments. It's different mentality. It's all computerized. They give you orders based on how it sells, and if you don't have inventory, still give you big orders and bigger orders, even though they're not accurate. So it's very
in our
different.
industry, there's primarily three big retailers. Walmart has always been the biggest, and then Target. 6 months into COVID, Amazon overtook both of those retailers as the biggest housewares retailer, and that just gives you a sense of their reach. And it's staggering the size of that business. This year, their income on sponsored ads, so the ads that run their company buys, will be $36 billion, which is bigger than probably 97% of companies in this country. So
Yeah, you know, it's matter of being first and being second. You know, that's the thing. Like if for people who started with Amazon early, they have momentum. And you know, one of the biggest needs for Amazon is the rating, or what do you call it? The review. Once you have 100 reviews or 200 reviews, you're in business, and they don't want to ever discontinue that item, because the reviews really carries the business nowadays. It's very big all over. You know, the market has really changed because there's so much, the power of social media, there's such a big importance on consumer approval. And I think all brands I actually read a book, what Maria suggested, I read a book that it talks about how you really got to take care of the consumer in all aspects. So if they put negative comments, you have to respond. Your customer service, all the touch points with the customers, as she refers to it, is so important, because nowadays, if you don't take care of the customer, your reviews can just basically destroy you. So it's really getting to be a very big part of the business. Crockpot we talked about, Mr. Coffee, Kenmore, we talked about all these brands, Sur La Table, and Peanuts, we also have Peanuts. We used to have Coke. So Peanuts is actually one of those you would think is not a big deal, but it's actually a great license, and it's getting stronger and stronger. You know, some licenses, they do a good job of growing their brand. Like Coke, it just went down. I don't know, because sugar probably. I personally think this is not a prestigious drink anymore, you know. But Peanuts is been around, and used to be for kids. Now all those kids have grown, and they're all older people, so they still like it, and it's fun and happy. So in our world that we are under so much pressure, happiness is now a premium. So it's actually a great brand.
But some consumer brands, like Coca-Cola, is one of the world's largest brands still, but they become very cyclical. And so I used to manage Dr. Pepper's licensing program, and it was very, very cyclical in our type of products. 1 minute it's hot, the next minute something else is taken over. And so Coca-Cola is in that sort of downswing at the moment. But I think, as Sal says, a lot of it as well is, you know, about health and wellness is a big trend in our industry and in life in general. And so the whole thing around soda. So you see Coca-Cola going out and buying Smart Water and buying all of these other brands and, you know, smoothie brands, because they're trying to change.
Did they buy Smart Water, or
Yes.
they created it?
No, they own it.
Oh,
They
wow.
bought it.
They bought it.
Yeah. So you sort of see them trying to diversify based upon.
Well,
changing
they
consumer
have
trends.
trucks going to all 7-Eleven, so you might as well take 4 other brands with you and fill up the shelves. It's all about shelf space for them. You know, they want to dominate in a different way. I think probably overall Coke sales have dropped in US. I think international has gone up, but Coke has lost his, and they're trying. I think the Coke Zero was a nice addition. So, you know, also the, like Peanuts introduced a movie a few years ago, and that created the excitement. They had a 40-year anniversary that was done very well. So it's just a, you know, brand enhancement and development is very important, and it really changes during the life of the brand. So this is kind of our portfolio, and we actually have, we have the Gap for Walmart, but it didn't work out. Like we introduced Gap dinnerware, and it didn't sell that well. So there's also that. It's not like, and we thought it was going to be a home run. Is that how could you go wrong with a Gap brand? It just didn't resonate with the Walmart consumer and didn't resonate in dinnerware. I think it's doing a little bit better. Actually, I don't know if it's doing a little bit better anywhere else.
No,
So it's kind of strange. Why would Gap not sell? You know, they had pillows, they had bedding. It didn't sell. Huh?
Our product did the best.
I know our product was the best seller, and they still discontinued. Why would you think Gap is not selling at Walmart? Do you have an idea? You like Gap. I mean, you guys probably are like Gap brand, don't you?
When you think of Gap, you think of, you know, clothing.
Yeah.
You don't think of
So it's the brand association is not there.
It's become a little tired.
Has to be.
It's been
Yeah.
around since 1967. It's become a little tired.
But it's
This
still a good brand, you
It's
know.
still a good brand, but I think this was seen as a way to bring more people into the brand and rejuvenate, and it just hasn't quite clicked at the moment. The big thing on the brand, one of the big thing on the brands, I think when you go around and you look, the thing that I would say, and I constantly say this about our brands, is they're brands with purpose. Each of them does a different thing for Gibson. And so
Well, the brand purpose, is that the same as identity or is
No.
different?
No, I think brand purpose to me is which retailer is it targeting? Which consumer is it targeting? Which categories is it targeting? So that it creates an opportunity. So Sal was saying, you know, there's certain categories like flatware or tools and gadgets where you've got people who live and breathe those brands every day in those categories. For us, it's been a bit of a challenge to overcome like a Cambridge on flatware or an Oxo on tools and gadgets. But when you bring in like a brand like Martha Stewart, it suddenly gives you a relevance, and therefore it enables you to start to compete. So for Martha Stewart, you know, obviously the home brand, but we know it's going to drive flatware sales, and it's going to drive storage and other growth areas. So each of the brands, to me, the brand has a positioning for us, but having a purpose is really important. And when we talk about Babish, you'll understand that's trying to do a different thing to what Martha's trying to do, or what T is trying to do, or what Bloomhouse is. They just are different vehicles for us to go out, and obviously different opportunities for us to go and sell. And at the end of the day, we talk about brands, we talk about products. This is a sales company, and the most important thing that we're about is selling product. So all of these brands come to be they're support acts for what we're trying to achieve as a company, which is strong retail sales across the globe.
Which sometimes the interests conflict with each other.
They do.
Because you have to be more patient with the brand and develop it and not necessarily bastardize it in the market, but you want the sales. So you kind of bend the rules. And I think, you know, what Maria is trying to give you, the 360 point of view, always keeps to my mind that not everything is slam dunk, not everything is black and white, and not everything the way it is, because you have to also understand you talk about brand purpose. The Gibson home, we're starting to finally get it off the ground. It's been our bread and butter for so many years, but we really never gave it that kind of attention. So we changed all packaging. We're talking to our salespeople about it. We're giving it a direction. So all of these are also decisions that has to be made. And I think it's not just because you know all the ingredients, it doesn't mean it always is sitting there for you to have. You have to go and find it. You have to make decisions. And the right decision and wrong decisions make a difference at the end of the day.
You've all got to remember that any brand, you know, any good brand needs to be consistent, but every good brand has to have change. It has to be able
That's
to
a very
adapt.
good point. But the thing is that the way, but okay, on that, actually the consistency always has to, there is a core of the brand that should probably never change.
Yeah.
There is, that's the most important. But then at the same time, you have to be progressive. It's almost like religion. There is a focus to the idea, but it has to go with times. Of course, many religions, there's people who are never going to change in their point of view. So that's another story, I
Perhaps
guess.
it's a little less about change than it is about different emphasis for a brand. I'm going to put more emphasis here
Yeah.
because that's where I see growth, where I see a consumer opportunity.
It's a
But they-
constant it's a constant
That's-
juggling, actually.
They're a living, breathing entity, and you've got to manage them very carefully. I don't know if you guys remember Volkswagen a few years ago that spent years and years building a brand and then basically lost $10 billion of brand value in one day because it came out that they were playing around with the mileage numbers on their cars.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and you can destroy a brand in moments. So
No, the
you've got to be
Avion,
very careful.
Avion, when it first came to US, was, I think, one of the largest water brands in US, and they had that problem. This is many years ago. Maybe you guys don't recall, but they had a chemical got into one of their main factories, and they had to stop development. They had to stop distribution. They pulled the bottles off shelf. I remember they had commercials that they came and said, "Oh, we are going to do that because we care for our product." I don't know if it was quite handled properly. I don't know, because they lost huge market share after that. I don't think they ever regained that. So those are the issues. You also have to be very cautious on brand development to not get into a pothole. Or if there's a pothole, get yourself out of it. Like in case of Martha Stewart, she went to jail, but she came out of jail pretty well, I guess. Yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of like destruction of brands, I feel like your business model where you have a lot of licenses with different brands de-risks you from, potential destruction of one brand. Like you're not like Adidas where like the Yeezy sales were about like 30% and then now they just lost 30% of their business. If Martha Stewart goes, you've got Kenmore, you've got Soho, you've got like was
Yeah,
that
diversity.
intentional or did it just come
Yeah,
up?
it's we are very we came out of a revolution, so we are very and generally the family is extremely conservative. I'm actually among the brothers. I'm the one that creates all the trouble. If it would,
He's not joking.
if it was up to my brother, he would cut this company into half because that would be safer. But yeah, you take amount of risk you take. It differs, and some people are more risk averse and some aren't. But yeah, for example, the reason we have Kenmore is because the company that owned Ulster got purchased by Newell, and we were afraid they're going to take away Ulster from us. So we went and got Kenmore. Now we have both, so we have no choice to carry on. But so yes, we do. Actually, the reason you see all these brands is because of Pioneer Woman. Because Pioneer Woman doubled the size of our company in a matter of 7-8 years. We picked up Pioneer Woman like 9 years ago. The company has doubled since then. We doubled in size because it was a huge commitment by Walmart. But then all of a sudden, they took over the license. Let's say a little bit illegally. Went directly to Walmart and gave us the license and took it away from us. So we have no license. As our margin dropped, and they dropped our sales, and we were all saying, "Oh my God, what's going to happen to us? They're going to take this license away from us." So what we did, also at the same time, we were so focused on Walmart that we felt our non-Walmart business needed life. So that's why you see all of these. When we heard Martha Stewart was available, we got on a plane 2 days later. We were in New York.
Yeah.
So because that was the need of the company, we wanted to create balance. We were off balance. We were heavy on one license, and we were lacking sales on the other aspect of our business. So now we have really put a lot of energy on our what we call core business. Core is non-Walmart. So we put a lot of energy. We picked up a lot of licenses. I think all these licenses are after. I think the only one we had, why we had Pioneer Woman was Crockpot, Oyster, Mr. Coffee, Peanuts. That's it. All the other licenses we took after Pioneer Woman. And we also learned. The Pioneer Woman really helped us. We went into a lot of other categories. Walmart encouraged us. They wanted a huge program. So they pushed us into many categories. So that really helped us develop that side of the business, and we used that ability to go do the same with other licenses.
Yeah, the next one we did was Chrissy Teigen at
Yeah.
Target.
Yeah, Target came and said we want something like Pioneer Woman, and we looked all over, and Chrissy Teigen was actually at first. I said, "Oh, forget it, you can't get her. She's too difficult." But then we got Chrissy Teigen, and Target gave us a big program.
But the licenses are there, to your point, to try and spread risk. But they're there primarily because they present, in our opinion, great opportunities for growth and sales. We felt that taking on Babish, for example, it was a very strategic decision. This is the type of license
I'm gonna go get it. So after
so
this, we
taking
can
them
eat.
on is
You know what? I
very
think
risk-free.
it's early,
It's
so
also
is it going to stay
semantics, I
hot?
suppose, but it's more about
I think-
I know that.
I think
Philippe was gonna set up some chafing dishes.
Build
and
it
stuff.
in.
You know, we'll just try. We'll do it after Martha.
After Mark?
Yeah, you know, lunch is. Yeah, we can have lunch after Martha.
Sounds
It's too early now. Anyways. Sorry, David.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to, there's always a balance in business between, you know, you want to be risk averse, but you also want to grow. You want to be able to focus, but you also know that
I mean,
you've got to be entrepreneurial.
What do you do if a brand is 80% of your sales? What are you going to do? You know, it is an issue, and yeah, some people may elect to diversify. But I don't know. Does Nike own any other brands?
Yeah.
They own Converse? Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they
Do they own Converse?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big purchase then, because Converse is a big name. So, you know, they are also probably, is that a diversification they want to do? Probably.
But I
You
think
know.
is that because Converse is going bankrupt?
No, Converse is not going bankrupt, is it?
In China.
In China it is, yeah.
What you'll find
They
is-
probably took it because Converse is actually very strong in soccer. So and Nike is not. So they also probably look at things like that. You know, they're trying to balance their portfolio.
So typically companies will try and grow in three ways. You know, if they want to get into new areas, there's merger and acquisition.
Yeah.
There's organic growth, I'm going to build it myself, or I'm going to license to get into a category. And so typically, you know, you look at those three things and you determine as a company which is the best one for us. So growing it yourself is a lot of money, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of investment, it's not a core competency. So people move away from that. Merger and acquisition, I go buy a company and I just layer it on, like a Converse, because we want to get into sort of more casual, everyday footwear with a great brand. And then there's licensing, which is brand extension, which is, it would be great if we were in cookware. Let's find somebody to go and do that, because then it's low risk and low investment for the company, and you're finding a partner, hopefully, that understands that marketplace, that has the relationships, that can create product that is suitable for your needs. So typically those are the three things that companies look at. You know, do it yourself, buy somebody, or lease out your brand for somebody to do it for you. And that's the construct that like Nike has. There's certain things they know they can do really well. Certain things just are off core competency, and they become a distraction for the business, and they become a money suck. And so you decide, I don't want to go there. But that's typically how things
Also realize that it's a progression business. You know, business is a progression, and you have to every step you have to be on your toes. As an example, we have all these licenses that is really our we hit a nerve in the market. It's like we are in high demand for it. It's working for us, but then the management realized that we are having too much of a headache with all the approval and all the limitations and depending on outside. So we wanted to develop our own legacy brands. So this year we're putting emphasis on our legacy brands a lot, and then we created Bloomhouse and other things, which actually our goal is to focus on those even more because you own it. And you don't have to, you're more in control of those brands. You're not relying on the outside. So, you kind of, it's a chess game. As you move forward, you see where you're weak at or where the needs are, where the challenges are, and try to adjust. So as an example, right now, our focus is growing our legacy brands, and we probably feel as though we are missing the Hispanic market. But perhaps we can develop the Hispanic market through Gibson Home and Ulster, and that probably is maybe the easier way to do it. So why not? We don't have to go get another brand, So it's but it takes effort. It takes effort and focus and attention, and that's essentially is money. So you have to pick your battles and move to specific direction, and making the right decision and not wrong decision is the name of the game.
You've got to
At the end of the day.
You've got to be. You can't
Okay.
just do something nowadays.
So,
You can't go after
You
the
want to go next?
Hispanic demographic if you're not being authentic in terms of doing that. Sorry. Go on.
When you say development, you say is that like a
Development?
when you say is that giving more marketing on that brand, or is that just like buying more goods from that brand?
No, it's a multiple. It's really a multiple. It's really, first of all, we're starting to promote Ulster as a Hispanic brand more with the retailers and our salespeople. And we are trying. We have some Hispanic product in the line, but we are looking at what it is that we don't have, and marketing those studies, and we are adding the right Hispanic brands, and we are doing a study. Our biggest competition is called Imusa. They're a brand owned by a big company, by Tifa. And they're very strong. They're in every retailer. So we're doing a study to actually see what are the differences between Ulster and Imusa. We've done surveys that shows Ulster has much higher acceptance among the Hispanic market. So its product is promotion, having the right product, promoting it correctly with the salespeople and the trade, and making sure, putting a lot of energy behind it.
What kind of campaign we do? Like if there is a brand you selected for, we're gonna develop this more.
Yeah, we are not. See, that's the thing. Like, we are not in the level to do a lot of consumer advertisement. So our focus and attention from a promotional point of view is very limited in a sense.
The brand itself is doing this. Right?
The brand itself hopefully is doing some, but like in the case of Ulster, the company is asleep.
Yeah, they
We are actually waking up. I mean, they talk about how big they are in South America, but they don't really promote it themselves. And we're going to them and say, hey, come on, guys, you got to promote this in US. And they're just finally beginning to see it. So it's a little bit of a cooperation in these levels.
And for new brands like with Tia, we convinced her to basically do postings 2 or 3
Yeah.
times a month to talk about the brand, which in the beginning was very difficult for her because she just wanted to be authentic to herself and just cook. She wasn't necessarily talking about her brand. So it took her a long time and a lot of convincing to talk about, hey, this is the dinnerware that I designed. This is my bakeware that I helped design. These are the colors that I grew up with. And so now you'll see like a posting this week for Walmart. So we got her partner with Walmart and say, hey, I have $15 off my set this week. Go check it out here. And she said, this is my set. And so she's very blatant about it now. And other brands that don't do that, you don't see the lift where, if they're not talking about the specifics of her brand, it's just noise. She's just talking and cooking.
So the options that are available nowadays, the biggest is online social media posts. That's really one, and influencers are extremely important, and we're trying to find the light influencer for our business that is also economical, because the ones that have a lot of followers want a lot of money. So I would say those are probably, if you want to talk to the consumer, that's probably the only angle left, unless you go to TV advertising, which is very expensive. So those are probably promotion-wise, from a brand perspective, is that. But the brand themselves, a lot of them come up with movies. You know, they do like a movie for the movie theaters, and I don't know. They create hype. They create, you know, a little bit hype.
The hope is when you take on a brand, when you take on a license, that they are continually working to drive awareness and affinity on a top level. So it's quite strategic. They're building that awareness and affinity and loyalty. Our play is more tactical. You know, we're focused on product. We're focused on.
We're focused on specific retailers.
Yeah.
Our challenge is we're trying to get a 400 store test by Walmart on Oster.
So they are doing the overarching
Yeah.
brand building and you know, creating that world and environment. And then we're coming in and really doing the things that are specific for our products, our markets, our needs. And as Jason says, you know, that includes now obviously a lot of social media. Tia does a lot in terms of social media, is very active. So we've sort of got to align those two things. So typically you will go, like we're launching Martha on Amazon, and Jody will talk to that eventually. But the plan there on Amazon is that Martha Stewart will have a monthly theme or program that they'll promote. So it could be summer grilling, or it could be back to college, or it could be Halloween or whatever. And then we tactically underneath that will promote our products that we think are most relevant for that theme or that event or that timeline. So it's sort of making the two sort of work together, but with different, one's bigger long term, ours more short term and tactical.
So actually, for the report that you guys are doing, you could suggest how you feel would be the way to promote these brands, and you know, just keep in mind that is more tactical and more specific.
But do you
And
have a right to like dictate them your kind of vision of their promotion?
dictate will be the wrong word.
Well,
You probably can entice them, influence it, and some are more receptive than others. Some partners are more receptive to listen to you. Some partners are so tight in their own point. Like Pioneer Woman now is given to a firm, a New York firm that is managing the brand. They're like totally separate from us. Their communication is very weak. They don't listen to us. So, you know, I would say the Martha people are a little bit more receptive. But the challenge with Martha is their design perspective. So every license has its own challenges also. Are we eating in the atrium, right? Where are you going to put it here? But can you keep it warm? Okay, don't put it out now. We probably got another 30 minutes. Yeah, okay.
Quick question
All right,
about the
yes.
Amazon Basics. Can they be a competitor for basic kitchenware on this stuff?
Yeah, they're essentially our competitor, but we are also now approaching them to supply them.
Right.
But they are essentially will be a competitor. We compete with them. Yes.
Yeah, so do you have to think about the creative
take this.
way to like improve your product? Because like I bought solar table, and because other people told me it's gonna be when you steam the food, it's the less water to go away, and then you can cook it better. So that's why I bought that. And so for the other products, I think the homeware is not different for me. Everything that folks, everything.
It matters the color.
The color, I do. Maybe I should be like, oh, in my home I like this color, but to be honest, I don't think that's gonna be competitive with other brands. So you should diversify your brand. you want more customer, like, you want be the major.
You know, of course, diversification is something that we believe in, so I'm gonna push it. You know, I believe in it. I think it's good for any business to try to diversify, but how fast and how much is also, because Sears diversified into insurance and this and that, that's one of the reasons they fell apart. So if you diversify too much, you get weak. You gotta be strong to diversify. But you know, the other point that you made that is very interesting is perception. Because people have a perception, like I have a couple lawyer friends, they're very successful lawyers, they're very smart, and they think what they buy from Costco is the best, because that's a perception is in our mind. But they end up buying our product, or they end up buying things that I know is not that good. So it's your friends have told you Sur La Table has better quality product, and the cooking lasts. Well, of course that's perfect for them. So if you can create a perception in mind of consumer that you have better product, and you'll see that in Frog, that you have better product, and maybe it is better. Well, we have product that is as good as anything in the market, but there's other product sells like 3 times the higher price, and they're more popular because the perception on those products are better than ours. So perception is very important.
It's also, you have to take into account trend as well. You know, in cookware and housewares, the 2 most important things are performance and quality. Those are the 2 things that people look for. We're increasingly, you know, health and wellness is a key trend. So you have to sort of look at health and wellness from the point of view of what coatings are you using? Where are you putting your emphasis? Am I going to create more glass because it's perceived to be healthy? Or I'm going to do more ceramic because it's healthy? So a trend like health and wellness drives things. Or sort of informality is a big thing now in homes. So people don't necessarily always want the 10-piece cookware sets. They might want open stock items or specialty items. So you've got to sort of understand the dynamics of the market and what the consumer is looking for. And so sustainability is a big buzzword at the moment.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Bloomhouse, that's a big sustainability brand. But where can we impact sustainability? Well, it's probably on the sourcing or on the materials, but also on things like packaging, where it can be, you know, a different type of packaging. So we've always got to be very, very conscious of what's in the market, and also understanding what the consumer need is. And I think for Gibson as a company, you know, we're very much a product company. We've become very much a brand company now, and I think our next evolution is going to be a consumer-facing brand company. And so this company is evolving like every day pretty much, and growing from what was not a narrow focus in terms of the amount of product, but this is what we do. We supply our retailers. Now we've got to be much more conscious of you, the end consumer, and what you are looking for, or what we think you should be looking for, and what we can persuade you to buy. So it's an evolution, and it's really important to be cognizant of the marketplace. Yeah.
So I might have missed this in the beginning of the presentation or the walkthrough. You're mostly a B2B company, or like?
Yeah, we are. I would say the majority of what we
Yeah.
are today is B2B. We recognize that B2C is really important as we grow.
Yeah.
I think particularly as we start to grow our own brands, our own legacy brands, that ability to become a B2C is going to grow and become much more of an opportunity for us. It's still about being a balanced business. You want to have B2B, you want to be able to sell direct as well. And sometimes selling direct, there's a lot of hidden costs in doing that as well. You talk to a lot of retailers and they'll say, well, we're expanding on B2C, but it costs us a lot more money because I've got to ship this in a box this big and the return is not that great. But again, it's a balance. And I think over time we'll become much more of a B2C. Through Amazon, you know, they buy some inventory and warehouse it and ship it. Other inventory we hold here and we ship ourselves direct to consumer. But they are the selling vehicle. So I think over time we'll build that capability.
Yeah, we do drop ship ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is about, usually ends up being about 7 to 10% of like a retailer that does their own. They also do BTC with us, is about 10%. But you know, that's one of my goals.
Mhm.
I think our future is to sell directly to the consumer.
Yeah.
Think if you
More
can,
and more. But it's very hard. We have had a very hard time. We're trying to get a marketplace going. It's like keeps on going later and later. It's lower priority because we're working on Amazon. We're working on this. So you know, priority of the business is very important, and then I have to sell it to the company. You know, I have my brothers. There has to be a commitment. That's what I was trying to say. It's not like you know. Sometimes you know what to do, and you think you know what is right, and you believe in it yourself. But you have to also sell it to others.
I think if you come back here in 2 years' time, and you're sitting in here, you're going to see quite a different company in terms of how we go to market. I think you're going to see a lot more in terms of consumer-facing marketing, whether it's through social media or influencers or other people. And we will get the Gibson marketplace off the ground. And I think you'll start seeing there's been a more active direct-to-consumer company. And I think you'll see more of an integrated sales and marketing company. I think that's the next stage in our evolution, really.
So you know, you are a B2C customer company. So maybe as your brand grows, you feel as though there's a way or a need or an opportunity to go to retail. But I think the future is going to go more and more to B2C.
Yeah.
Because what is happening is that it's easy. I remember 15 years ago when internet was hot, we would go into a big meeting with all the resources. The Target will get up and say, we really don't want you to sell direct to the consumer. That was like 15 years ago. They don't say that now. It's almost every manufacturer is selling direct to the consumer. You actually probably buy a product at retail and go and find it on Amazon and buy the reorder on Amazon nowadays, don't you? We're all doing it. So I think we need to, as a company, it's probably one of our opportunities.
Okay.
But you know, that's what I was trying to say. Like, we know you guys are going to learn all the facts about marketing and brand management, but don't think you're always going to get your way. And you have to sell your way. You know, and it's tough. In business, it's a lot of disagreements sometimes. And, you know, you see these companies that are successful and they're banging on the world and there are all kinds of things happening and they look like they're very focused and they know what they're doing. Well, they probably have very focused and are. You know, when you're walking with definition that you're clear on what you want to do, it's a lot easier to go forward than when you're like, what am I going to do? Wait a minute, are we agreeing on this? So.
And there's always external factors that even the best laid plans. Who would have thought 3 years ago they would be hit by COVID and the whole marketplace would pretty much change overnight? You know, COVID accelerated so many trends, like the demise of department stores and the switch to online. It accelerated the increase in home cooking and baking and completely changed the marketplace. But nobody could have predicted that COVID, well, perhaps some people might have been able to somewhere, but the majority of people would never have predicted that. And that has massive implications on a company like Gibson. So, you know, we're trotting along and it's Gibson Marketplace is the next big thing. The next big thing is dealing with COVID and all the challenges of shipping and logistics and warehouse and getting product. So that whatever your best laid plans are for a brand or growth, there's always something that's going to come along and not necessarily derail you, but certainly put you off. And that's why it's really important. We haven't really talked about it a lot, but companies have got to have a vision. They've got to know where they're going. There's an old quote that if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. And it's really important to sort of have that vision, because you're going to get knocked off path. You're going to have to go and take another opportunity, but you've always got to be clear about ultimately where you want to end up. And I think that's, you know, Sal and I are very clear about where we want to go and what we want to do. It's just getting there based upon, there's a lot of things that impact what we're doing. We had a record sales year last year. Probably had one of our worst years in terms of profitability because it costs so much money to bring things in and to ship them and to hold them and to do all of those things. So, you know, it's an ever-changing environment.
I have just quick comment slash question and about the Gap Home. Could reason be the placement from the 4 Ps of marketing? Because a lot of people, like millennials like me, go to Gap to buy stuff, but the people who go to Walmart are price conscious, and most of millennials usually don't buy stuff for like dormitory or apartments from Walmart, because Walmart is located more like in suburb places, and Target is a place where usually students go. Because in Westwood we don't have like Walmart, right? But most of our like homeware stuff we buy at Target.
Do you have Bed Bath and Beyond? Bed Bath and Beyond
no.
is on Olympic. You don't go that far. Yeah.
Yes.
Target is convenient for you.
Exactly.
And Target came there for a reason.
Absolutely, yes. And the Target is a kind of reason. And as millennials, I think like Walmart stuff are like cheap and usually like not for us. And that might be the reason.
That could be. It could be a very valid reason.
I think maybe if Gap was at Target, would have done a lot better.
Exactly. That was my point. Because H&M has home, because it's in H&M. That's why people think, okay, H&M, I will buy clothes and something for my, I don't know, like.
H&M is in Walmart?
No. I mean like in H&M store.
they have
Right.
a home.
Yeah.
It's a perception.
Right. Perception, exactly.
Perception very important.
That's why people might think, okay, I mean.
It's
Gap,
interesting you're
Walmart.
saying Walmart, you have a perception Walmart is not good quality. You know,
Yeah.
that's
It's actually a lot of my friends.
it's probably very true.
Right.
It's probably one of the biggest challenges for Walmart.
Okay, so I have a quick question for you. So McCarthy, 1967, is 4 Ps of marketing. Which 5th P did he forget?
What is this? What was the question?
So McCarthy had the 4 Ps of marketing that he came out with in 1967, but he missed a big P that's really, really important now. Yeah, people. So price, promotion, placement, you know.
People may be the most important.
It's
You know,
absolutely.
the psychology of understanding what people want to do and what they do is probably the most, I don't know, don't you think is the most important thing for marketing is the psychology of people? Is like,
And I think if you go away with, that's the only thing you take away from today, as a marketing person, I would say that's the most critical thing that you
it's a very good point. Yeah, people to know what people want and how they react and what they're looking for is probably the
Yeah.
most important thing in business.
Old economy was.
In many businesses. I guess if you're dealing with computers, maybe it's not. I don't know. If you're designing programs, I guess it's not. But if you're selling product to the consumer, you better know what their behavior is.
I think that, you know, I'll just say one. So old economy was we make stuff, we go sell it. New economy is we understand the consumer, we understand their needs, but we understand their wants, but more importantly, we understand what their future needs are going to be, and we market around that. So it's really important for you to think about people, consumer, who you're selling to, the what, where, and why of business. And that, I would say, that is the critical thing for you to understand.
It's like another way to create a future trend. But
It is, yeah.
Okay, do you create trends?
before, yes. Now,
You know, what
now-
is the name of that the company? There's a shoe company that started in Soho, New York. There were a bunch of people that were wearing it. It's in Milwaukee. No, it's a Wisconsin Wisconsin. I'm trying to find. Is it real Oshkosh? Is it Oshkosh?
They did the overalls, but.
Yeah, the overalls. You know, they started with in Soho, New York. Few people wearing it, and it caught on fire, and it just like trend.
Not Crocs.
No, Crocs is
Not
no
Crocs.
Crocs is another trend. I don't know where Crocs started.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I don't know which one you're
I don't know how
talking
Crocs. Yeah, I gotta.
Nurses started Crocs, I think, so, yeah.
Nurses started Crocs.
Yeah, they still wear them, but they
Yeah.
became a fashion trend.
And
they
you know how you
dropped off
created
their
the
back.
trend, like the Grey Goose. I know Grey Goose got really hot because the people who started Grey Goose actually sent their bottles to the president of many companies. I don't know, you know, they sent to top people so people go in bars and ask for it. That's how they created the trend.
And disruptors coming into the market. So whether it's like embedding Casper in mattresses, suddenly come into the market with a very, very different outlook, basically a bed in a box, and took enormous share really, really quickly. But then, like some of the examples we talked about earlier, realized we need to have retail distribution. We need to have a partnership with Target, or we need to have our own stores. But disruptors are really important as well, and they can really change both the face of an industry and then pull up other companies who have to respond and have to sort of raise their game to compete with them. So
Jody, I'm sorry to do this for you, but I wonder if you should eat lunch first so it doesn't get cold, because I think the discussions are continuing. So I think.
Sure.
Do you want to do that? Yeah. Let me see if I can.
Okay.
Because then I'll just kind of show you this different thing. So basically, this is our answer to healthy cooking. So right now, when you look at the market, you've got green pan that is out there, and this is our answer to that. So this is a ceramic non-stick cookware, so you use less butter, less oil, so it's a little bit healthier. It's also our eco-conscious brand, where we are every time we buy a set, we have a tree planted.
Gotcha.
A lot of different things. So we've got ceramics that are part of the cookware as well. So it's aluminum cookware with a ceramic non-stick. We've got stainless as an option. We sell it in large 12-piece sets. We also sell as individuals. A little bit different. We've got a lot of different colors as well. So you see that we've got the stainless, we've got these purple color, greens, and then we also are looking at different eco-conscious products that you have as far as
Yeah, that's cute.
looking at different types of textiles and different things that are within the line. So basically, it's our eco-friendly type brand that we have. So that's the quick version of it.
Gotcha. So it's our own brand.
It's our own in-house brand.
How long we created this inventory?
It's taken about a year to bring to market.
Year to bring the market.
And then we showed it in Chicago last March, and it made Oprah's favorite things. So
Gotcha.
this fall, it's one of the key things that are in her magazine, and then also online. So we've done some great sales on it.
Where the trees gonna be planted?
It depends on the company. So it's the company's called One Tree Planted.
Oh,
and then,
gotcha.
And so that company would basically give them the funds for that, and then they plant the tree.
Gotcha. So do you have any like similar products on the market already, like similar to this?
This is our answer to the eco-friendly brand. So
Eco-friendly
this
brand.
is it, yeah.
Gotcha. And how do we do any like campaign on this right now?
The initial campaign was Oprah because it was so new. So it was first introduced in March. From there, it'll be placed on Amazon, and then it's going to be open to other retailers as well.
Other retailers. We don't do any like that much advertisement on that end.
There
right?
will be, yeah.
There will be,
Yeah.
because we own this brand.
Yes.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah. Eventually, there'll be a lot of.
What kind of like
advertising
strategy we might go use for that? Marketing wise?
As far as marketing,
Yeah.
there will probably mostly online and influencers.
Online friendly, like mostly focus on like eco-friendly, environment, sustainability stuff. Gotcha. And it's on market for a year now.
It's actually been on market for about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow, it's brand new.
Just launched.
Gotcha. What's your expectation on this one? Did we do any like market analyze before?
As far as looking at the competition, as far as like, what is our health conscious brands, like what we look at as far as we'll take like less butter, less oil, easy food release, different things like that, and then also just kind of going after that, eco conscious, like how do we kind of break into that market? So other brands are talk about green pan and things like that. This is our answer to that.
How about like scratches or stuff?
So on this, this is a diamond infused ceramic non-stick.
Oh
surface.
wow!
And so
normal steel won't hurt.
you can use metals on it, but we recommend using like nylon or plastic or silicone, and then it will last longer. And this is on an aluminum body as well.
Aluminum body as well.
Some of them. So this one's a stainless. This is aluminum. This is stainless. So this is the innovation, seeing a non-stick surface on a stainless product.
This is our design for this brand so far.
Yep. So when it comes in a box, each of the items is put in one of these bags. Oops, sorry.
It's like making the house more eco-friendly.
Correct.
Kind of like that.
So when you pull it out of the box, it's inside.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Of
course.
Yeah. So, good luck with this.
Thank you.
I think could be.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's cute. Like those are cute too.
Do you want to go through Babish?
It's the same brand. Oh, the other
it's
brand, right?
different.
The other brand. Got you.
That's okay.
I'm
All right,
good.
thank